going? My name is Brian Ayers, and this is Rugged Fitness. And today we're going to be talking about the foam roller, right? And releasing some tension in your legs and in your upper body, so that your workouts can work out a little bit better. It's going to increase flexibility, range of motion, and just overall make you feel better. So this is a basic foam roller. Want something that's a good density. Some of the ones they sell are a little bit squishy, so if you can purchase it at a store, or if you are purchasing it at a store and you can get a hold of it, make sure it's got a good density to it. Some of the soft ones will get a little matted down pretty quickly. You actually don't even need to use a roller. You can use a softball or a small medicine ball will even work. Just remember, the smaller the surface area, the higher the concentration of force. So if you're using something, obviously this has a broad surface area, so it's not going to put too much pressure on any one specific spot, whereas some of the smaller balls may. Just be careful when you're doing that to not put too much pressure, because you're going to trigger a guard response in the tissue, or you might even bruise or damage that tissue further. That being said, as you're doing this, it's not going to be particularly comfortable. All right, you're going to feel some soreness, some pain, especially when you roll over those spots that are really dense. It's going to be uncomfortable. But as part of the process of healing, you've got to break up that tissue and allow the oxygen, allow the blood flow and the water and hydration all to get in there. Otherwise, as Mike Boyle, I just recently went to one of his lectures, and he described the difference between filet mignon and beef jerky. Right? Filet mignon is nice and soft, and you can bend it and move it, and that's really what you want that muscle tissue to be like. Over time, though, as we get beat up, you end up with some beef jerky in there. So the spots that you're rolling over, if it helps to visualize, you got a little beef jerky going on. What we're doing is the muscle tissue itself is going to run in one particular direction, but the layers of connective tissue that surround the muscle tissue are going to kind of crisscross in all different patterns. So just simply stretching a muscle, that's why a lot of times people stretch and they say, oh, I stretch all the time, but I can't really get in any range of motion. It's probably because they have a lot of adhesions in that connective tissue surrounding the muscle. So when that bunches up and gets all knotted, right, like that, you've got to get in there and push it and mechanically get it to open up and get back to alignment again. Otherwise, it's going to continue to stay tough and dense, and it's going to prevent that hydration from getting in there, and the tissue is going to dry up and be nasty and uncomfortable. So you're going to find areas as we go through that are more tough to roll over than others. Those are the areas you want to spend extra time in. I know it's counterintuitive. If it hurts, you think, all right, I should stop doing that. But you really want to get into those areas that are tight and sore and really dig it out. So as we're making those passes, if you're going up and down an area and it's not really feeling too bad, don't spend a lot of time on it. Just move on to somewhere else. You'll find the spots that are tender, and those are the areas you want to really work on. All right, so let's get this going. We're going to start down at the calves today. We're going to go systematically through the different muscles and try to get the whole body kind of like a grid search. Right? So we're going to start out on, I'm going to show you just one side. You'd be doing both sides as you go through, but today, just for time purposes, we're just going to go one side through. So we're going to start down at the calf with our toe pointing out. This is going to get the outside edge of this calf muscle. So we're going to cross our other leg over if you want some extra pressure. If you don't need the pressure, just leave that leg out to the side. Either way, we're going to go from the knee attachment all the way down to the ankle. And we're just rolling back and forth. Right? We're going to make, like I said, about 5-6 passes through. Right? If you find some areas that are tense and tough to roll on or uncomfortable, hang out there and just kind of shorten your swipes back and forth over that one spot and try to get it to loosen out. Very much like a massage therapist will kind of give you a nice massage. When they find a knot, they'll get in there and dig at it. And it's not particularly comfortable when they're doing it, but it's going to release that tissue overall and make you feel better. So toe up. After that, now you're rolling up the middle of the calf, all right, from down where the Achilles is all the way up to the base of the knee. Going up and down, and then after that you're going to roll that toe pointing inward, and I'm going to roll the inside edge of that calf going up and down. All right, just making nice broad strokes. You can position your hands at different points wherever you need to get the leverage to get into there. Okay. After you've done that, you want to move it up to the hamstring. All right, so you're going to start up here, just at kind of the crease of your butt, the top of the hamstring insertion. We're going to point that toe out, and we're going to roll up and down that outside edge. So this is right along the edge of that IT band. It's going to be a little uncomfortable for most of us. Try to stick it out. Get in when you find a spot, like right there, that's real tense. I'm just going to rock back and forth over that spot and try to get it to loosen up a little bit, okay? Once I made a few passes and things are feeling okay, then I'm going to move to that next spot. So toe pointing up, and I'm going to work up the middle of that hamstring now. From the hip all the way to the knee, all right, working in and out of there, okay? And then finally, I'm going to turn my toe inward, right, and I'm going to put a little pressure on the inside edge of my thigh, all right? So I'm rolling front all the way up and down, all the way down the back of that thigh, okay? From there, you can move on to the glutes. So you're going to put your butt cheek right up on here, pick one side to start with, all right? And we're going to roll up and down the outside edge of that glute. So you can put your elbow down, you can position your body however you need to. There's really no right or wrong way to where you put your foot, front versus back. Just try to give yourself good balance and good leverage so that you can control the amount of pressure you're putting on at any given point throughout that range of motion, okay? From there, you're going to move to the center of the glute, okay? Rolling up and down, trying to find any tension spots along there. If you're finding that the glute is pretty sore on the outside edge and where you're rolling here, you probably want to work on that once that lets go. If you're finding it's not too bad, then you can cross this leg over and then get really deep into that piriformis. So you're going to get down into the deep part of the hip. This is probably going to be the most uncomfortable for you. If you're already uncomfortable on those first two on the glutes, you probably don't want to try to get too far into this one until you've broken up some of that initial soreness. Okay? And again, you'd be doing both sides each time here. All right? Now from here, we're going to move up to the back. You're going to put this on the center of your back. All right? I'm going to always put my hands kind of supporting my head and neck, and I'm going to roll up to my shoulder blades. All right? So from the middle of the back, right up my shoulder blades. Now from here, you can angle more to one side than the other to try to get up and down. One side's a little bit tighter than the other side. You want to get in there and work that out. Also, if you want to get between the shoulder blades, you just want to bring these elbows together, and then that's going to help you spread the shoulder blades out and really get into those rhomboids and those areas right between the shoulder blades. You want to work those out. Okay? Now, you can work on that low back. Some people are going to tell you that it's not good to work on your low back. You just have to be careful in the positioning. Again, we went to see Mike Boyle this past weekend, and he was really saying how you can get into the low back as long as you keep that good trunk flexion. So when I get up from the middle back, again, I'm going to start up on my middle back. I'm going to crunch my abs forward, bring my head forward, and then I'm going to very gently roll toward the hip. All right? Now, with this one, your QL comes around the back here, so if you lean more to one side than the other, you're going to get in there. You just want to be real careful because you have some floating ribs down here that you don't want to put direct pressure on because there's really nothing else holding them in there. So just be careful not to put too much pressure and really just kind of ease your way into those. Okay? From there, we're going to work on flipping over and doing a little on the quads here. Okay? Now again, focusing on if one side is more tight than the other side, that's a problem because that's asymmetry. And asymmetry is going to throw the mechanics of your body off big time. So if you do notice that one side is particularly tight versus the other side, start with the side that's bad, then do the other side, then come back and do a little more on that other side to try to get like a 2-to-1 ratio until they're about even. Okay? Trying to get even is your #1 goal. From there, once we're even, then reducing your overall tension is going to be good from there. All right? So getting on the inner part of my thigh, I'm going to lay down on my stomach here. Okay? I'm going to roll kind of on my side, and I'm going to position this roller perpendicular to my leg. All right? So then I'm going to get on, and I'm going to roll from my knee down into where those adductors attach up in my hip. All right? So I'm rolling front to back. All right? Trying to get all the way up in there. All right? Same thing. Make your passes. If you find areas that are tense, stop on those areas and keep going. All right? From there, I'm going to go up onto the center of my thigh with my toe pointing straight down, and I'm going to roll. All right, I'm going to go from my hip all the way up high in my hip, all the way towards my knee. Okay? Really focusing in, getting those hips down into the knee. You're going to feel the center of that quad. All right? And then last but not least, we're going to roll and position yourself so that you're hitting the outside edge. So the toe is pointing outward, and now I'm rolling, again, right alongside that IT band there. All right, so all the way up from my hip, right, you get into that TFL, down towards the hip flexors a little bit, and then along the outside edge of the quad. Okay? And again, we're going to try to draw that line from the knee all the way up the hip, up and down. Okay? So, that's kind of a breakdown of all the major areas. Oh, there's one more. Let's get the lats while we're at it. So if I'm going to lay down on here, put my arm extended out here, now I'm getting right underneath that shoulder blade, and I'm going to roll front to back. Okay? So I'm bringing my chest forward, and I roll my chest back. All right, going along that edge of the shoulder blade. You can move up or down a little bit, depending on where you need to be. But now, instead of rolling up and down each time, I'm rolling front to back. Right, trying to trace that inside edge of the shoulder blade, looking for any tension spots I find along there. If I find one, I'm going to stop on there and kind of try rocking it out just to get that spot to release. All right, so how often should you do this? As often as you need to, all right? I'm starting a little initiative here at the gym. I'm telling everybody, if you show up early for class, I don't want you hanging around on the benches anymore. Come in, find a roller, get on it, and start working on those problem spots. At the beginning, you may not know where your problem spots are when you first start out. You'll find them pretty quick. And the areas that consistently have tension in there, you need to work on those more frequently, all right? Because how your movement patterns are working, it's causing tension to build up in those areas. Right? So we don't want that to happen, because then the knees, the hips, the ankles, all the joints are going to start getting angry because the tense muscles are pulling against it. Right? So think of that muscle as being surrounded by a sheet. All right? Very much like your bed sheet. Right? You have that bottom sheet that hooks under, right, and kind of covers over your whole mattress. Now, if you were to go in there and grab a bunch, right, and staple it, then work in another area, grab and staple, and you keep doing that all over the sheet, little by little it's going to compress down on that mattress, right? It's going to get real tight and tough, right? And because the bed sheet doesn't go all the way around, eventually those corners are going to pop off, right? Well, with the muscles, you don't have corners to pop off. That surrounds the whole muscle, right? So each time, it's just going to keep clamping down further and further on that tissue and making it harder to move, making it harder to get the recovery in there. All right? So I tell everybody, try to spend maybe 10 minutes a day at first in different areas. Work your way through. If you can spend more time, do it. But really, start your workout out doing some foam rolling. Hit the major spots, get them loosened up, and then work out. If you wait till the end, chances are your workout runs long. Oh, I'll skip it. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And before you know it, you've built up a bunch of tension. If you get this done and you're consistent with it, over time you won't have to spend as much time, because once you get that tissue back to being good, then it's just maintenance. At the beginning, you're definitely going to have to put your time in, though, to break down that scar tissue that's built up. All right, so get on a foam roller, right? They're not expensive. If you're spending more than $25 for one, you're probably getting ripped off, right? So go out, grab one. It'll be the best $25 you ever spent. All right, thanks for tuning in, and as always, live rugged.